Here you go. Kind of like what I had Judy doing, where I'll have her feel like she's wide, and even on a short shot, you can go to this point.
Right.
And then, let's just say my hands only went waist high.
Right.
And the club is parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
Well, when the club is parallel, now I'm just going to hit a short shot. So I'm only going to hit a short shot. But my next move is to lower my hands and keep the club high. That's a good way of practicing it.
Okay.
And then basically, to make a longer swing, you would take the club back a little farther. But again, pull your hands low, keep the club high. Now I'm not going to hit the ball high because I'm pulling faster than I'm releasing.
Yeah.
So the ball isn't going to come up the more that I lean the shaft. The more that I lean the shaft, the more I de-lock the club. The more I de-lock the club, the more I trap it. The more I trap it, the more I accelerate it.
And the more ball compression you get.
Yeah, more compression. So, you know, that's something you would want to practice with a sand wedge or a pitching wedge. I mean, it's hard. It's hard, but all you're doing really is getting yourself to feel that move.
Yeah.
And you're exaggerating it. Now I'm going to just take it back a little bit further and do it. It'll be a little easier.
Oh, yeah.
You see? So now I should start to hit the ball first, and then take my divot. Now there I hit it thin because I was pulling it faster than I was releasing it.
Right.
So no divot. See, no divot? If I go back here and I release it too soon, now I'm adding loft and hitting behind it.
Yeah, you know, it seems like whenever in the past when I've tried to do that, that's what I always do, is I'd hit behind the ball. You know, yeah.
So see how that divot's going to come out? Watch where the ball is.
Right.
I'll move it there in a piece of turf.
Okay.
Watch where the ball is and watch where the divot starts.
Okay. Way ahead of the ball.
Right, way ahead of it, right?
I always thought the divot came behind.
You hit the ball first.
But the ball hits first and the divot comes next.
Yeah.
Which means you're still going down instead of coming up.
Your club's not supposed to bottom out until an inch or two past the ball. Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah.
Clamp it'll say, Bobby Clamp it.
Impact
zone.
Yeah.
4 to 6 inches.
That's what he
in front of the
said.
ball.
I know. Because I went to.
Handicaps go up. Okay. The higher the handicap, the further behind the ball somebody's going to hit.
Okay.
The lower the handicap, the more that the ball's going to be struck, then the ground, divot, and through to the finish. But again, you know, the farther you'll hit behind the ball is going to be you snatching that golf club or getting quick with your hands.
Right.
And again, a thin golf shot, and again, if you're doing it correctly, you're pulling, and I'm trying to catch back up to release it. Now when I start to do that correctly and I release it more on time, which to me naturally is going to happen if you're hinging, pulling, and releasing.
So with an iron or like that wedge there, when you're trying to make impact with the ball, you're trying to, I mean, you're aiming like for the very back of the ball. Is that true?
When I'm exaggerating that. Let me think. When I'm exaggerating that, I'm actually thinking of hitting a spot out here in front of the ball. Sometimes I even like to look at the front of the ball as opposed to the back of the ball.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to set up and I'm going to stay here, but I'm thinking of hitting through there.
Okay.
Through the whole ball.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to go back. I'm going to pull my hands more forward.
Wow, I wish I could hit my 7 like that.
You see? And the sounds now, it starts to sound like you get as opposed to a clump. So you get a ball, divot, release, and then the divot starts to be a little bit more shallow. It's not as deep because you're not releasing it and scooping it as opposed to pulling it and releasing it. And again, I think one of the easiest way to start to get yourself to feel that is to do it with a short club like a wedge, pitching wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron, and then work into a little bit more of a swing, and then continually get it up.
Right.
I call it a download. So really you're downloading your wrist more so that the club stays high. So you're going to download it, pull your hands low, and then try to release it. To me, a good way of feeling that is almost to feel like I'm going to hit a total thin shot. I'm going to hit it totally thin.
Oh, okay.
And by that, what I mean too is that if I'm pulling faster than I'm releasing, in other words, I'm pulling, but I'm not releasing,
right,
the club's going to stay high.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have a hard time catching up someone hit the ball thin.
You're going to de-loft it. No, yeah.
And again, if I stop pulling and I start releasing, then I'm going to add loft to the golf club. It's going to look like that. When I get down there, as opposed to like that when I get to the bottom. Now, that's exaggerated, but the more I can lean the shaft, the more I'm going to de-loft it.
And the more loft you put on, the more you're killing your distance too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to make this 7-iron a little bit like a 6-iron. But if I make that 7-iron or 6-iron, my hands are further forward, I'm going to be accelerating anyway, so I'm going to have more club head speed to elevate the ball because the ball's going to spin.
Right.
But again, short little swing, so I'll go short, wide, release, short, narrow, release. And a lot of times when you do that too, you'll actually come down a little bit. You won't stay high, because if I go up here and then I release it, I'm going to come up. There's where the term keep your head down. So then you get somebody doing this and trying to stay down. Whereas staying down to me is easy. If you work down and keep the club high, you're going to stay more down anyway. So you won't come up. The only way you're going to come up is if you do this, because you're giving all that angle away.
Right.
The more you give that angle away, if I stay down, I'm going to throw it in the ground back there. Right? So I got to come up to hit it. Right?
Yeah.
So if I go up, down, keep the club high, I'm going to stay more down through the hit anyway. So I won't have to think about my head if my wrists do the right move going up and coming down.